My dear friends, every single one of us has been given the same 24 hours in a day. No one gets a second more, no one gets a second less. Yet, some people achieve greatness and others feel stuck. Why? Because the successful don't just spend time, they invest it. Time is like money. If you don't invest it wisely, it disappears, and you wonder, where did it all go? Have you ever picked up your phone just to check one quick message, and suddenly you realize an hour has vanished? You were only going to scroll for a minute, but somehow you went down the endless rabbit hole of reels, stories, and notifications. You laughed at a meme, watched a motivational video, maybe even cried at a sad clip, and then wondered, where did my time go? My friends, we live in an age where distraction is the new addiction. The digital world has become a comfortable escape from reality. But here's the truth: the more time we spend watching others live their lives, the less time we have to build our own. Every time you scroll aimlessly, you are not just spending a few minutes. You are trading a piece of your destiny for entertainment that doesn't last beyond a few seconds. It's like taking small sips of poison that feel sweet in the beginning but slowly destroy your potential. The sad part is, we don't even realize it's happening. We think it's just 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes, repeated throughout the day, become hours. Those hours, repeated through weeks, become wasted months. And those months turn into regretful years. Imagine if you treated your time the way you treat your money. You would never throw your hard-earned money out the window, would you? Yet, when we waste time, that's exactly what we're doing, throwing away the most valuable currency we have. You can lose money and earn it back, but once a minute passes, it's gone forever. The clock doesn't stop for anyone, not for the rich, not for the poor, not for the successful, not for the struggling. It ticks equally for everyone. But the difference lies in how we choose to spend it. Let's say you have a dream. You want to start a business, learn a new skill, or get fit. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes because your phone pings with a new message, a new video, a new distraction. Before you know it, you've wasted another day. Then you look at someone else who's achieving their goals and think they're just lucky. But success has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with discipline and focus. The people who win are not the ones who have more time. They're the ones who use their time better. Think of a farmer who plants seeds every day. If he keeps waiting for the perfect weather, he'll never plant. But if he starts early and nurtures his field consistently, he will enjoy the harvest later. The same is true for our dreams. If you spend your time sowing seeds of action, reading, learning, practicing, you'll eventually harvest results. But if you keep wasting time on endless distractions, your field will stay empty and you'll wonder why nothing grows. Now, I'm not saying you should never relax or enjoy entertainment. Balance is important, but there's a difference between resting to recharge and escaping to avoid responsibility. Rest builds you, escape blinds you. For example, imagine coming home after a long day and deciding to spend 30 minutes watching something uplifting, something that educates or inspires you. That's rest with purpose. But if you spend 3 hours scrolling mindlessly, comparing your life with others, and feeling worse afterward, That's not rest, that's self-sabotage. One simple practice can change your life. Before you open your phone, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it to learn, to connect, or just to fill a void? The moment you start asking this question, you'll catch yourself before falling into the trap of time wasting. It's not about giving up your phone, it's about taking control of your attention. Let me share a story. A young man once came to me and said, Gaur Gopal Das GA, I feel like I'm always busy but never productive. I don't know where my time goes. I asked him to write down every activity he did in a day for just 1 week. When he came back, he looked shocked. I didn't realize I spent over 3 hours a day on social media, he said. That's 21 hours a week, almost 1 full day gone. I smiled and said, my friend, now imagine what you could build if you used that 1 day each week to work on your goals. 1 day to exercise, to read, to build a business, to grow your mind. In 1 year, that would be 52 full days of progress. He was silent. Sometimes awareness is the first step to transformation. The truth is, every scroll, every click, every just one more video has a cost. The cost is not just time, it's lost opportunities, lost growth, and lost peace of mind. But when you start valuing your time, miracles happen. You begin to see life differently. You start prioritizing things that matter. You wake up early not because you have to, but because you want to make your day count. You start feeling proud of yourself because you're no longer controlled by distraction. You're guided by purpose. And slowly life rewards you. You feel more confident, more peaceful, more fulfilled. You no longer chase quick dopamine hits from your phone. You find joy in real progress, finishing a book, learning a skill, or simply spending meaningful time with loved ones. My dear friends, you don't need to delete all your apps or throw away your phone. You just need to decide who's in control, you or the screen. Your phone should be a tool, not a trap. If you can make that shift, if you can choose your goals over endless scrolling, your life will start transforming from the inside out. Because when you stop wasting time, you stop wasting life. Remember, every second you spend wisely builds your tomorrow. Every moment you waste steals your tomorrow. So, the next time you pick up your phone, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I'm not here to scroll, I'm here to grow. And when you start living with that awareness, you won't just stop wasting time. You'll start winning your life. Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up full of energy and determination, but by the end of the day, you wonder, what did I actually accomplish today? You weren't lazy. You were busy, running around, answering calls, checking emails, replying to messages. But somehow, nothing truly important got done. My friends, that's what happens when you don't plan your day. Life has this strange way of filling your time with distractions if you don't fill it with purpose. When you don't tell your day what to do, your day will decide for you. And usually, it won't choose wisely. Imagine your day as an empty glass. You can fill it with clear water, things that nourish and move you forward. Or you can fill it with sand and pebbles, random tasks, gossip, scrolling, and mindless distractions. If you fill your day with sand first, there's no space left for the water. But if you fill it first with the things that matter, your priorities, your goals, your growth, everything else can fit around them. The secret is to start your day by choosing what really matters. Let me tell you a simple truth. If you don't wake up with a plan, you'll end up living someone else's plan. Someone will always need your attention, your time, your energy, a colleague, a friend, a message notification. The world will keep pulling you in different directions until you forget your own path. Planning your day is not just about scheduling tasks, it's about taking ownership of your life. Take a moment to think about how most people start their day. The alarm rings, they grab their phone, scroll through messages, check social media, maybe watch a video or two. In the first 10 minutes of the morning, they've already allowed other people's opinions, news, and noise to shape their mindset. No wonder they feel distracted and stressed throughout the day. But imagine if you started differently. Imagine waking up, taking a few deep breaths, sitting in silence, and asking yourself, what 3 things must I achieve today to make this day meaningful? That small question can transform the entire trajectory of your life. I remember a young professional who once came to me saying, Gaur Gopal Das ji, I work hard all day but still feel like I'm not progressing. I end my days exhausted, not satisfied. I smiled and asked, do you plan your day before it starts? He said, no, I just go with the flow. I told him gently, my friend, going with the flow is great for rivers, but not for people with dreams. The next day, he started writing down his top 3 tasks every morning. Within a week, he came back with a glow on his face. I can't believe how much difference it made, he said. I feel in control. I finish my day with peace instead of chaos. That's the power of planning. It doesn't just organize your schedule, it organizes your mind. Planning is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. Many people think productivity means being busy all day long, but business is not progress. A hamster runs fast on a wheel but stays in the same place. True progress happens when your actions align with your purpose. Planning helps you make that alignment. It ensures you spend your precious hours on tasks that move you closer to your goals, not just on activities that keep you occupied. Let's say you have a big exam coming up, or a project deadline, or you want to get healthier. Without a plan, you'll keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. But when you plan your day, you decide, I'll study from 9 to 11, I'll exercise at 6, I'll prepare my meals beforehand. Suddenly, your goal becomes real, not just a wish. That's because planning bridges the gap between intention and action. It transforms dreams into steps. And you don't need a complicated planner or fancy tools. Sometimes, a simple notebook and a pen are enough. Each morning, take 5 minutes to set your focus. Write down your priorities. Ask yourself, if I only accomplish these 3 things today, will I feel satisfied? If the answer is yes, you've found your purpose for the day. There's also a beautiful peace that comes with planning. When you know what you need to do, you stop worrying about what you might be missing. You stop comparing yourself to others because your day is filled with meaningful tasks, not empty scrolling. Planning gives you confidence, a quiet strength that comes from knowing your direction. It's like sailing a boat with a clear map instead of drifting wherever the wind blows. I once heard someone say, Don't start your day until you've finished it on paper. That means before your day begins, visualize it. See yourself completing your goals, meeting the right people, handling challenges calmly. When you live your day twice, once in your mind and once in reality, success becomes easier because your actions already have a blueprint. And yes, sometimes things won't go as planned. Life will surprise you, challenges will arise, unexpected things will happen. But that's okay. A plan is not a cage, it's a compass. It doesn't stop the storm, but it helps you find your way through it. When you have a plan, you can adjust without losing direction. Without one, you get lost in the chaos. Think about how fulfilling it feels when you end a day knowing you used your time wisely. You sit down at night, look at your list, and realize you accomplished what mattered. That satisfaction is priceless. It builds self-respect. It tells you that you are not just surviving another day, you are progressing. So tomorrow morning, before you rush into the noise of the world, pause, take a deep breath. Write down your intentions. Don't let your day control you, you control your day. Every great achievement in history started with a simple plan. Every success story was first written in someone's notebook before it became reality. My dear friends, the difference between a dreamer and a doer is not talent, it's preparation. Plan your day like your life depends on it, because it does. When you plan your day, you plan your destiny. And remember, a day well planned is a day half won. So many people spend their entire lives waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right feeling, the right amount of confidence. They wait for Monday to start exercising, for New Year to set goals, for motivation to magically appear before taking the first step. But the truth, my friends, is simple and profound. There is no perfect time. The stars will never align perfectly, and the universe will never send you a special invitation to begin. Life rewards those who take action, not those who keep waiting for the right moment. Think about it. How many dreams have died in the waiting room of someday? How many ideas, inventions, books, and passions have been buried under the heavy blanket of hesitation? People often say, I'll start when I feel ready. But what if readiness doesn't come before action? What if it comes through action? You don't build courage by waiting to feel brave. You build it by taking small steps, despite your fear. A young artist once came to me and said, Gaur Gopal Das ji, I want to start painting again, but I haven't found the inspiration. I smiled and said, my friend, inspiration is not something you find, it's something you create. When you start painting, inspiration will come. The next week, he sent me a message full of excitement. I started painting again, he said. The first few strokes felt awkward, but soon I was lost in the joy of creation. You see, inspiration didn't come before he started. It came as after he started. That's the secret. In life, we often mistake movement for progress. We keep planning, overthinking, analyzing every detail until the opportunity slips away. We keep polishing the same idea, waiting for everything to be perfect. But perfection is a moving target. The more you chase it, the farther it gets. The most successful people in the world are not those who waited for everything to be ideal, but those who took imperfect action and learned along the way. Think of a child learning to walk. The child doesn't wait for the right shoes or the right day. They fall, they stumble, but they keep getting up. They learn balance through falling, not through thinking. That's exactly how life works. Every failure, every mistake, every small step teaches you something that waiting never will. If a child gave up after the first fall, they would never walk. Similarly, if you give up before you start, you will never grow. There's a powerful quote that says, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." Most people want the results of hard work without starting the work itself. They want the success of a champion without enduring the sweat of practice. But every master was once a beginner who decided to take the first step, even when it was uncomfortable. Waiting for the right time is another way of saying, "I'm afraid." But fear loses its power the moment you move. Let me share a story of a man I once met who wanted to open a small cafe. He had been talking about it for years. Every time I met him, he said, "Soon, Guruji, soon I'll open it. I'm just waiting for the right moment." One day I asked, "What are you waiting for?" He said, "When I have enough money, when the economy improves, when I feel more confident." Years passed. The dream remained just a dream. Then one day, someone else opened a cafe in the same area, and it became successful. He looked at me and said, "I had that same idea." I told him gently, "Ideas don't make people successful. Execution does." You see, there are always reasons to wait. Lack of money, lack of time, fear of failure, fear of judgment. But there will never be a day when everything is perfect. Life doesn't give us ideal conditions. It gives us opportunities disguised as challenges. The moment you stop waiting and start acting, things begin to move in your favor. Doors you didn't even know existed begin to open. People show up to help. The universe rewards action with momentum. Think of the difference between a parked car and one that's moving. When you're parked, it's hard to steer. The wheel feels stiff and unresponsive. But once you start moving, even slowly, it becomes easy to turn and adjust. The same is true with life. When you take the first step, clarity comes, confidence comes, direction comes. But if you keep waiting at the parking spot, life passes you by. Some people fear failure so much that they prefer not to begin at all. But failure is not the opposite of success, it's the path to success. Every successful person has failed, sometimes hundreds of times. But they saw failure as feedback, not defeat. If you learn from it, you haven't failed, you've grown. The only true failure is not trying. You don't need to take a giant leap today. Just one small step in the right direction can create massive change. Want to write a book? Start with one page. Want to get fit? Go for a 10-minute walk. Want to start a business? Research one product today. The key is momentum. Once you start, you'll surprise yourself with how capable you are. There's a story about a man who wanted to cross a river, but stood on the shore, waiting for the water to stop flowing. He kept waiting and waiting. Years passed, but the river never stopped. The truth is, rivers don't stop, and neither does life. You must gather your courage and step in, even if the water looks deep. Once you start walking, the way reveals itself. So, my dear friends, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for permission, for motivation, for certainty. Start where you are, with what you have, and do what you can. Don't worry about how far you still have to go. Just focus on taking the next step. Because the moment you start acting, life starts aligning, the energy you put out into the world begins to work for you. Every day you delay is a day you can't get back. The clock is ticking not to scare you, but to remind you that your time is precious. Don't waste it waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow is promised to no one, but today is in your hands. So take that first step, however small, however imperfect, and trust that everything else will follow, because the truth is, the journey of 1,000 miles always begins not with the right plan, not with the right moment, but with one brave step forward. In a world that constantly competes for our attention, focus has become the rarest and most valuable currency. Every second, something is trying to pull you away from what truly matters. Your phone buzzes with notifications. Someone calls your name. Another email arrives. Another video pops up promising just 1 minute of entertainment. Before you realize it, the day is over, and your dreams are still waiting patiently for you to return to them. My friends, success doesn't belong to the most talented or the luckiest. It belongs to the most focused. In today's world, focus is not just a skill, it's a superpower. We live in an age of distraction, and distractions are not always loud. Sometimes they come quietly disguised as comfort. The moment you sit down to work, your mind whispers, "Let me just check that one message," maybe one quick scroll, maybe one short video. And that's how we fall into the trap. One small distraction at a time, our focus is stolen. It's like a thief that doesn't break in through the window. It politely knocks, and we let it in. Every time we allow ourselves to drift, we lose a little bit of our potential. Imagine this. You're holding a magnifying glass under the sun. If you keep moving it around, it will never burn a hole in the paper. But if you hold it still, steady, and focused, the sunlight becomes powerful enough to ignite a fire. The same principle applies to your mind. When you scatter your attention everywhere, your energy weakens. But when you channel it into one direction with intensity, you create extraordinary results. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. I once met a student who told me, "Gaur Gopal does GE. I study for hours, but I can't remember anything. I keep getting distracted." I asked him, "How do you study?" He said, "I have my phone next to me. I take short breaks every few minutes. I play some background music." I smiled and said, "You're not studying for hours. You're studying in between distractions. That's why your mind can't absorb. A scattered mind is like a lake full of ripples. It cannot reflect clearly. But when it becomes calm and still, everything becomes visible." Focus requires discipline. It means saying no to what doesn't serve your purpose, even when it's tempting. It means training your mind to be where your body is. Most of us live divided lives. Our bodies are in one place, but our minds are somewhere else. We eat while thinking about work. We work while thinking about social media. We scroll through our phones while thinking about what we should have done instead. This constant mental switching is exhausting. True peace and productivity come when your attention is fully rooted in the present moment. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a musician playing a beautiful piece of music. The sound that reaches your ears is not just the result of his talent, it's the result of his focus. Each note, each rhythm requires his complete attention. If his mind wanders, even for a second, the harmony breaks. The same happens with our lives. When we live without focus, our rhythm breaks, our purpose weakens, and our results fade. But when we learn to give our undivided attention to our task, we create music in everything we do. People often say, I can multitask, but the human brain isn't designed for that. You can't give your full energy to two things at once. What you call multitasking is actually task switching, and every switch costs you time, energy, and concentration. Studies show that it takes several minutes to regain deep focus after every distraction. Imagine how much precious time we lose every day just trying to return to our zone. Focus is not about doing more things. It's about doing one thing deeply, beautifully, and completely. Think of an archer aiming for a target. He doesn't look at the crowd. He doesn't check his phone. He doesn't think about what others are doing. He breathes, steadies his hand, narrows his sight, and releases the arrow. That is focus. And that's what it takes to hit the target of your dreams. In your daily life, your arrow is your effort, your bow is your mind, and your target is your goal. Without focus, the arrow will never reach where you want it to. When you truly focus, something magical happens. You enter a state of flow. Hours pass, but you don't notice because your mind and work become one. You feel alive, sharp, and peaceful. That's the state of pure engagement. Athletes experience it, artists experience it, even simple people can experience it while cooking, writing, studying, or building something they love. The joy that comes from complete focus is unlike any other pleasure in life because it comes from being fully present. Let me share a story about a young man who dreamed of writing a book. Every day he would write for 10 minutes, then check his messages, reply to a few friends, scroll for a bit, and then get back to writing. This cycle repeated for months, and his book never progressed beyond a few pages. One day, he decided to make a simple rule: 1 hour of complete focus every morning, no phone, no noise, no interruptions. At first, it was difficult. His mind kept wandering, his fingers itched to reach for his phone. But slowly, something changed. He began to enjoy the silence. His ideas flowed. Within 6 months, his book was finished. He told me, Guruji, it wasn't the writing that was difficult. It was learning to focus. Focus also brings peace. When you train your mind to do one thing at a time, life becomes simpler. You stop feeling overwhelmed because your energy isn't scattered. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're busy mastering your own path. Focus gives you control. It reminds you that you don't have to chase everything. You just have to chase what truly matters. My dear friends, a lion doesn't chase every animal it sees in the jungle. It picks one and gives it everything. That's what makes it powerful. You too have that same power within you. If you can learn to channel your attention, to silence the noise, to resist distractions, to focus your mind, you can achieve anything you desire. Success is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing with full heart. So the next time you sit down to work on your dream, remember this: your phone can wait, your notifications can wait, the world can wait. But your purpose cannot. Give it your full attention, your complete energy, your undivided love. Because when your mind becomes focused, your potential becomes limitless. And that's when you stop merely living. You start creating. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning to say no. Not because we don't want to protect our time, but because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We grow up believing that being a good person means always saying yes, yes to helping others, yes to every invitation, yes to every favor. But my friends, sometimes a yes to everything is actually a no to yourself. When you say yes to everyone else's priorities, you slowly abandon your own. You begin to live a life that pleases others but exhausts you from within. There was once a young woman who was known for her kindness. Everyone liked her because she was always available, always ready to help, always ready to listen, always ready to take on one more thing. But over time, her smile began to fade. She felt tired, overwhelmed, and unfulfilled. One day, she realized that she had spent so much energy taking care of everyone else's needs that she had no time left for her own dreams. Her generosity had turned into self-neglect. When she finally learned to say no, not out of anger but out of self-respect, her life began to change. You see, saying no is not about being selfish. It's about being selective. It's understanding that your time, your energy, and your attention are limited resources. Just as you wouldn't let anyone withdraw unlimited money from your bank account, you shouldn't let anyone withdraw unlimited energy from your spirit. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you say no to something meaningful. Every unnecessary commitment takes away time that could have been spent building your future, nurturing your mind, or resting your soul. Life becomes much simpler when you understand that you don't owe everyone your time. You owe yourself peace, balance, and growth. There's a beautiful strength that comes when you learn to say no with kindness and clarity. You start to attract people who value your boundaries instead of those who take advantage of them. The world begins to respect you because you've learned to respect yourself. Let's take a common example from daily life. Imagine someone who wants to wake up early every morning to exercise or meditate. But every night, a friend calls them to hang out and they say yes, even though they know they'll sleep late and feel tired the next morning. They do this again and again until they lose their consistency. The friend is happy, but the dreamer is suffering. One day, when that person finally says, "I'm sorry, I can't come tonight. I need to rest because my goal matters to me," that one decision becomes a turning point. That no is not negative, it's powerful. It's an act of self-discipline disguised as refusal. I once met a businessman who said yes to every client request, every meeting, every event. He wanted to keep everyone happy. But soon he found himself burned out, his work quality dropped, and his passion began to fade. He told me, "Guruji, I feel like I'm losing control over my own life." I said, "My dear friend, you're not losing control. You're giving it away, one yes at a time." When he started setting boundaries, focusing on his top priorities, and saying no to distractions, his energy returned, his business improved, and his peace came back. The fear of saying no often comes from the desire to be liked. We think people will be disappointed, angry, or think we're arrogant. But the truth is, those who truly care about you will understand your no. They will respect your honesty. The ones who get upset are often those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. You don't need to explain your every decision. A simple and polite, "I'm sorry, I can't do that right now," is enough. The right people will stay. Learning to say no also teaches you something beautiful. It shows you what really matters. When you stop trying to please everyone, you start pleasing your purpose. You begin to see which commitments bring joy and which ones bring stress. You begin to understand that your energy is precious and not everyone deserves it. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself first doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you care enough to show up for them as your best self, not your exhausted self. There's wisdom in knowing your limits. Sometimes you have to say no to certain people, certain habits, or even certain versions of yourself that no longer serve your growth. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Every no creates space for a bigger yes. The yes to your dreams, your health, your family, your happiness. Think of your life as a beautiful garden. If you let every weed grow freely, your flowers will struggle to survive. But if you carefully remove what doesn't belong, your garden will bloom with peace and purpose. Your boundaries are the fences that protect your garden. They keep out the noise, the negativity, and the unnecessary commitments that drain your spirit. And remember, saying no doesn't have to sound harsh. You can say it with kindness, gratitude, and grace. You can say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." You can say, "I appreciate the offer, but I have other priorities at the moment." You can say, "No, not because I don't care, but because I care too much about my time." Every time you say no with love, you say yes to your growth. I once met an old monk who told me something I never forgot. He said, "When I was young, I tried to please everyone. When I lost myself, when I learned to say no, I found peace. And when I found peace, I started giving more from the heart, not from exhaustion." That's the difference between helping others because you want to and helping others because you feel you have to. One comes from love, the other comes from fear. So, my dear friends, don't let guilt guide your yes or fear control your no. You have the right to protect your energy, your dreams, and your time. You have the right to choose where your heart belongs. The world doesn't need more people who say yes to everything. It needs people who say yes to the right things. Next time you're asked to do something that doesn't align with your purpose, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this moving me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is no, then let your response be peaceful but firm. Remember, every no to distraction is a yes to direction. And the more you practice this, the lighter, freer, and more focused your life will become. Because when you protect your time, you're not just guarding your schedule, you're guarding your soul.